Alright guys, 5 seconds, right here. How many things can you find in this image that are wrong? And yes, there is more than one. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me know in the comments. Go. Hey guys, Akariss here, bringing you a brand new unit analysis video. Now usually, these might not be that exciting, I would think, because we've been getting some pretty big poop lately, to put it bluntly. But you know what, with this guy, I think there's definitely some stuff to talk about. So, first off, I didn't expect much, and we got quite a bit. So there is stuff to talk about, strap yourself in for this one. Alright, Jorge, which is probably more like a meme to most people, and probably completely overshadowed by the CYL units, definitely deserves some attention. The dude has the first of the highest ranged BST in the game, I think, pretty much, yeah. And he's a blue bow. Now, at first you might think, oh, blue bow, but then just remember Legendary Chrom exists, and then you'll be reminded that that's not as bad as you might think. However, I still consider it a con over a pro. So, yeah, his stat spread, though, is decent, and remember, now we can give IVs to these guys, so you can kind of fine-tune his stats if you don't like it. But you'll find out in a moment why his stats are actually exactly where we want them to be. Very good overall, and he is good for pretty much every mode in this game, I would say, right now. Really big underdog coming in with the CYL units, so strap yourselves in. This guy comes with his own preference weapon. He comes with Ignis, Chill, Defense, and Attack opening, which is like whatever, like those don't really aren't worth talking about, but his weapon is worth talking about combined with his stat spread. So it may not look that good on a first impression, because it's like a slaying bow and kind of a spendthrift bow. If you know what spendthrift bow is, basically it makes your opponent weaker, it makes you stronger, and it makes your special kind of inconsistent. It's a reverse special spiral where it always ups your special. You can only use it every combat, but never charge it for further combats. So what this means is, it's not like this completely though. The debuff works for Jorge, so he gets the benefit of being tankier, but he doesn't get the extra attack, so that's the difference there. However, instead of having an inconsistent special, he has a more consistent special by running slaying, and because it's a preference weapon, there's an additional attack on it compared to a slaying weapon. So he's got some things going for him. On top of that, that weapon can be used to support your allies, and that's where a lot of the functionality can come from, which will be discussed in the video, of course. So this guy came with a decent weapon, which may seem pretty awkward at first, but it's actually pretty good. He himself has a really good attack stat. So combined with this and his good defensive stat spread, you got the makings of a very good unit in almost every mode. And 175 BST, for those that don't know, after merge puts him as a very good contender for a merge project. GHB means he'll get a rerun, reducing his grail cost significantly for something fairly unique. Remember, out of all like the high scoring units right now, we don't really have a blue. Like, the only other blue is Valbar, guys. Or if you went for like a 4-star Geese, I guess that's it. So it's not really that many options. Jorge stands out currently as being a premium good option for people who are looking to get something for not much. Alright, let's talk about some builds. So first off, I will discuss the tank builds. Now, I'm going to put it soft here. We're going to start in light season. Most units, if not all units, are good in light season. This is double mythic, air, and peony, which everyone has for free. And what we're doing here is basically leaving him in neutral, so he hits a sweet 66 HP, avoiding some buildings, not all, but some buildings, very important. And giving him speed res solo with close counter just to give you flexibility in most matchups. This isn't what I would call the most ideal build, but it's good enough, and it gives him stats in everything he wants. So it may look like not much, but realistically he's up in the 40s, 50 speeds easily, with Peony in mind, with buffs, with Flower of Joy if properly supported. Air can take the offensive chills off him. If you have Mila as well, she can take the defensive soaks. So this is a really good simple build. It doesn't have to be pulse smoke, for instance. You don't have to do close counter, no follow-up. There's definitely some interchangeability here, but this is a solid carry build if you're thinking of using Jorge this way, and he will pull through with this. He doesn't really need anyone else to make him shine. He's fairly independent, and that's what makes him cool. But this isn't the peak George yet. Okay, moving on. We got the ranged tank George. So without close counter, and the thing he's most lacking is speed. It's like his one lower stat. But by making him strictly a ranged tank, you can try to snipe the melee on the enemy team. You don't run into too many comps with an abundance of melee units, but if you do, you can always try to make a snipe play, especially in light season, where you have Peony to enable that. So by running ranged only skills like attack speed solo 4, you patch up probably his biggest weakness, low speed. And that's totally how you want to play him. By making him patch up his speed, he's already got good defensive bulk, a really good attack stat, and noontime basically going off on every hit without having to rely on something like Lancina or a worse slaying bow. He's got his own slaying bow, a good slaying bow. So this is the better version of George, but we're not there yet. This is still, believe it or not the full peak of where I actually feel like George can play. This is your tank build and it will work, but that's not it. Moving on, we got the hybrid George in Astra season. Now the reason I put him in Astra season here is because of joint drive attack. This is triple mythic George. Eventually you may run into a composition where you're running like Altina, Naga, maybe a triple mythic, but this one will assume 2 Altinas. Triple mythic is the end game of AR offense, which means you can only bring 1 flexible slot of a character. So essentially 3 mythics, a bonus unit, and then your flex character. George is interesting as the flex choice because he can work as both a carry and a support. His weapon buffs other units while also working for himself. So you can use him as a carry, you can double bait, and with joint drive attack you have a unit who basically gives 9 attack to someone else. And if you think about Altina, that's pretty good. So you can make double baits with George and Altina by having Altina possibly vantage a team, or you can take 2 spots on a map. George covers one side, Altina covers the other. Altina covers George's weakness as well by being red, and this is solid. Like, this is the premium kind of way of using him, and I see him perfectly in that spot. Huge attack stat, huge bulk, decent speed because of the available solos, no follow-up to stop impacts. This is crazy. Like, I'm highly considering using this guy myself. I'm gonna wait until the rerun to confirm it because we might have some good stuff coming. But this guy, you should highly consider him yourself if you need a role like this. This is one of the few options in the game where you have a carry and support hybrid. It's not often you can find a unit that can support and carry. And this George is like the first of, and maybe the few that can do this. Like, you can technically make an argument for some dual units, but they get shut down by dual buildings. Like, obviously dual Ephraim, dual Alphonse can carry and support by using their abilities, but they get shut down by dual buildings, so they can't always be used that way. Or Valoria possibly contributing to Gale Force and accelerating special. So these are, other units who are in this role, but those units are all really good. So think about it. George, boys and girls. Now that's not it, okay? That is not it. I'm gonna actually talk about defense as well. Anima defense. If you want to throw this guy with Mirabilis, ground orders, possibly Thrasier on the team just to create some color coverage. That's already red, blue, green, but obviously Mira isn't really a threatening red. The thing with this is that he is a good enabler of other types of units. For example, Thrasier, a low merge Thrasier with ARD speed res running Glacy Swiss Sparrow. The one thing that version of Thrasier is missing is basically attack. What does George give with his bow? Attack. And being on the front line, he also debuffs enemies. So by putting him on the front line with that massive defensive stat spread, he's not only enabling your other units in the back line, he's protecting them with his bow. So this is kind of huge. He gets his own version of special acceleration. He's got huge bulk, a good HP stat to pulse others, and enables other nukes who might otherwise be lacking in certain stats. So again, we're not done. I'm not done. Next up is, obviously, with his high stat spread, yeah, an arena build, of course, because like he has high stats, why not? So if Legendary Crom is giving you some trouble, there's your solution. Yeah, Sorcery Blade, folks. I've been using this one for quite a while, and I'm a big fan of it. If you actually run a George like this guy can bait out every water legendary who gives you problems, Crom, Leaf, and Azura. He's just enough res to avoid to just about bait her. Like, most legendary Azuras will do just about 5 damage to him, and he will bait them out. Grom and Leaf get destroyed with enough support running Sorcery Blade. Their weaknesses, like Leaf not so much, but he's got low speed and he can pretty much die. But Chrom, biggest weakness to him is his lower res stat. So by using Sorcery Blade, you can actually cut through that, and you'll run into a bunch of Chroms who may use like 30 impact or buff up their defense stat, but not really care about the res stat. So what do? You basically run Sorcery Blade with something like an Aversa behind, who would panic off his buffs. Now, panicking off, even though Chrom like removes penalties, he doesn't get the buffs. So still panicking Chrom is effective. It's just not ideal. So you can use that with Jorge here. You can use null follow-up instead of low attack defense, for instance, if you think like impacts are giving you problems. But this guy with Ruptured Sky gets his guaranteed special off of an engagement. He has support in the back with Aversa possibly giving him extra attack, Sorcery Blade activation, and the panics and such. Of course, we have Aversa there running plus HP. You can give Jorge probably the plus attack boon if you were going to use him for Arena to secure even more kills. So, yeah, I mean, if you felt like you were getting some trouble, then this guy may solve a lot of problems for you to cover that blue core that might desperately be needed for Arena right now. Oh, what a take. What a take. Alright guys, I'd say that pretty much covers all my thoughts on Jorge. He's very unique in a time where everyone's talking about other units, the CYL units, and you know, I have my own take on that stuff. You know, if you want to know more of my thoughts on CYL, like check out the stream, check out Twitch, maybe hit up Discord for some discussions. I do post on Twitter as well. Check those links out if you want more CYL stuff, because everyone's probably going to ask me there. But this video, Jorge, man, give him some thought, give him a moment. This meme isn't so much of a meme right now. All right, folks, thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below, plus the teaser in the beginning. What do you think? How many things wrong with that image in the beginning? Yeah, there was more than one. Thank you guys. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Much love. Peace.